My name is Radcliffe Johnson, and you're watching Let's Talk About It with Raheem Mitchell.
Let's talk about it. Say I just heard about a show. Let's talk about it, talk about it. Where the independent artists go. Let's talk about it, talk about it. Nisi got a new EP. Let's talk about it, talk about it. Stephanie's doing comedy. Let's talk about it, talk about it. That girl from LA and that guy. Let's talk about it, talk about it.
And now your host of Let's Talk About It, Raheem Mitchell.
Hello, and welcome to Let's Talk About It. I am your host, Raheem Mitchell. Thank you for tuning in. I hope everyone had a happy holiday and Thanksgiving, and it's almost Christmas. So everybody, let's get with the family, man. We need to get with family and stick together. Speaking of family, the gentleman I have on my show, me and this guy, we go way back in the days, and he was telling me, he said, I'm gonna write a book. I want to be on your show. And I would just put it aside, yeah, whatever, Radcliffe, you're not going to do it. So he mailed me his book. He sent it to me. And ladies and gentlemen, he is here. Please welcome Mr. Radcliffe Johnson to Let's Talk About It. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Great, actually.
I know that's right, man. You finally got it together, huh?
Yeah, I made it happen. I made a commitment. I would say a year ago,
Right.
I made the decision I'm going to publish the book.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine, she's a publisher. Her name is Steph Ritz.
Right.
And Ritz Book.
Right.
And she's a publisher, and she does it all.
Mm-hmm.
So I've known her for probably 5 or 7 years, and she's been trying to get me to go to her workshop,
Right.
which is in Northern California in the Redwoods.
Right.
And it's just so out of the way and so difficult to do.
Right.
COVID came, the shutdowns, and she went online.
Mm-hmm.
So she hit me up for a free workshop, and I did one show, one weekend with her, and I'm like, okay, I want more.
Okay.
Because she generated so much content for me, so much inspiration, such clarity. She made the process seem so workable and so doable
Right.
that I was on board. I was like, wow, all I got to do is produce the content, and you do all the rest.
Right.
And so I finished the 6 free workshops that she gave, and then I committed to publishing the book in a year.
Right.
And here we are, published.
Okay. Published book. And you brought your book with you?
I did.
Yeah, see your book here. You get a copy. Let me see it. And you get yours. All right.
So my book is Magical Creatures.
Okay.
It is, the title, Magical Creatures,
Yes.
is a poem I wrote about my goddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was watching her play one day,
Right.
and I just saw a little bit of magic happening.
Mm-hmm.
She's just a pure being who just does children's stuff.
Just enjoy children's life.
Yes,
Yeah.
she's just doing a child's life.
Uh-huh.
And I was taking care of her, and just watching her do her child thing. She's currently 9, but I think she was 7 at the time when I wrote this poem.
Right.
And I'm watching her do her thing, and it just was a moment to just hold on to an experience, because it totally was the most beautiful thing you could see. It
Yeah.
was just to see a child being a child.
Yes.
And so I wrote this poem, and I had it stored away in my archives of
Right.
poems to be ignored.
Uh-huh.
So we picked the 12 poems for the book,
Right.
and my publisher said, let's look for a title. And so we're going through my archives, and she says, oh, let's do that one. And she picked Magical Creatures, and she said, okay, we're going to use that one. So I said to her, you haven't even read it yet. She says, the title says enough.
Right.
We'll do that one.
Okay.
So that became the title poem
Right.
before she even read it, and it's perfect.
Okay. So out of the poems, I know a lot of artists, and I know a lot of people who do poetry. And I always ask them, so which one is your favorite? I'm like, man, all of them are my favorite. And I say, okay, well, read me one, and then I'll let you pick which one you want to read for us.
Well, all of them are my favorites,
Right.
of course. But the most powerful one in this book is What You Leave Behind.
What You Leave Behind.
What You Leave Behind. That's a poem I wrote on November 13th, 2003.
Okay.
That was, I was at that point in life, I call it the crossroads of destiny,
Right.
where you got to choose, you got to make a choice. I
Right.
was in a relationship for 3 years,
Right.
and the relationship failed. I was all invested, and I did everything I could to make that thing work,
Right.
and it came crashing down.
Okay.
And my life, I really had to look at my life.
Okay.
You know, I wanted to blame her. I
Right.
wanted to be right, but I knew something was wrong about how I was going about it.
Right.
So I had to make a decision to really, really look at how I did everything in life. And what you leave behind became the seal behind that change that kept me from going back and kept me from actually just deviating from my course.
Right.
To just really figure my life out. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? What do I believe? What am I about?
Right.
Am I honest? And to find out I was dishonest with myself is the thing, you know, to find out, like, am I lying to myself?
Right.
Am I deluding myself about
Okay.
life?
Right.
You know, and I was so over my head in life that, you know, I just had to ground myself. And this poem was an insight into who I was
Right.
and where I was.
Okay.
And I used it as a tool to break myself out of my own delusion. And so let me read it for you right
Go
now.
for it. All right.
What you leave behind, what you leave behind will always find its way back into your life. Burn your bridges and never look back. Never look back over the flames of burning bridges. Never look at the people on the other side, for they have nothing but contempt for your wretched hide. Never go back to the ashes of burnt bridges to rebuild on burnt hinges. Never go back to the scene of your crimes. Never return believing your own scheming lies, justifying the wounded's cries. No one forgives the virtues you lack. You know too well you can never go back. You walk alone once you strike that match, and all behind you will be turned to ash. It is the path of woe, the heart goes cold. Emptiness and loneliness digs their holes, as the never-ending suffering takes its toll. 'Tis the price you pay when you sell your soul. Moving on, your mouth tastes sour. The time is near your darkest hour. In darkness, you will find your own true power. Never look back. Never go back. Never go back.
Congratulations, man. That's good. That's good. Yes, and that's true because a lot of people do try to go back to see if they can try to make it better. Or maybe it was me. Maybe I wasn't there. Maybe I didn't hear what he or she were saying. So maybe I'll go back and I'll try and fix my wrongs. Maybe you can fix your wrongs. But hey, our journey has moved on. We're only here for a reason. We're only here for a season.
I played 100%.
Yeah.
And I was honest. Even in my dishonesty, I was honest.
Right.
So I was playing that honest, but I was wrong from my premise. Where it was coming from was wrong.
Right.
I was coming from scarcity. I was not clear about what I was trying to do. I didn't have the image of what a relationship looked like from my parents. I didn't have the right tools, and I made it up, and I made it into a fantasy. I was delusional and too idealistic, and I'm so grateful to this woman who loved me.
Right.
Like, to this day, I resented her at first, and I blamed her, but over time, I kept looking back, and I kept looking at the love that she gave me. And I did not want to go back to the relationship because the reasons it failed was reasons that you don't go back to.
Right.
But I had the experience of being loved. And that experience satisfied me through some dark times when I was feeling lonely.
Right.
And I got to be grateful. And I became the man who would have made that relationship work.
Right.
I will never go back to that relationship.
Right.
It was dysfunctional and unhealthy.
Right.
But I became a man who would have made that relationship work. And I found gratitude for her,
Right.
for everything. I learned so much from this woman.
Right.
I became more patient, I was always trying to get somewhere.
Right.
I was trying to get money. I was trying to get things done. And I wasn't present. I wasn't in the moment. And she kept crying and begging me to be there. And I'm like, I got to pay the rent. I got to pay for the car. I got to
Right.
do all these things.
Right.
And what she was begging me for, I didn't get it.
Right.
Because my priorities was things,
Right.
not life, not
Right.
being alive. I grew up in scarcity. And in growing up in scarcity, you have the survival context,
Right.
where everything is about keeping that roof over your head,
Yeah.
keeping things going.
Yeah.
And I was scared. I was trying to protect things, and she didn't feel protected. She didn't feel like I was there for her, even though everything I did was for her.
Right. But she didn't think you were doing it for her. You were doing it, although you want to do it to keep the roof over your head and keep
Yeah.
this and keep that. But hey, I'm still a person. You still got to show me that love.
You still
got
gotta
to
be
show
there.
me that commitment. Yeah, I understand.
Still got to be there.
Yeah,
Still
you
got
still got to be here.
check in. And
Yeah.
so I did not know how to play with children. And I did some transformational work through WorldWorks, transformational workshop. And they really brought me down to earth
Right.
and got me to really see all the stuff I was avoiding, all of the unresolved stuff, to really land myself in a human experience, to where now I can actually enter a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old's world and just play. And in interacting with people, to really checking with people, to see what's important to them, to know that important things isn't what I can do for you, but that I can be with you
Right.
and who we are for each other. And so I didn't get that. And I didn't even know I didn't get that.
Right.
It's a strange thing, is that you don't
Yeah.
even know what you're missing.
Yeah, you don't know it until they say you don't know it until it's gone. And
Exactly.
then when it's gone, you're like, oh damn.
Yeah.
Oh man, I
So-
had this, I had that. Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying.
So my writings is really, it's therapeutic.
Right.
It's raw and revealing. So I'm honest.
Right.
I write rejection. I write love. I don't solve any problems with my writing. I'm not trying to give you a solution to heartbreak. What I'm going to do is communicate to you the feeling of heartbreak,
Right.
or the feeling of the moment of true love, my experience of it. You will find your own self in the broader context of my work.
Right.
So I have a bigger book coming out next year.
Okay.
365 poem. The main title is going to be A Year of Moments.
Right.
And so I'll give you a poem for every single day of the year.
Right.
And everybody will find themselves somewhere in there.
In one of those poems, you're like, oh yeah, that's me right there.
You
right.
will find yourself in there, because
Right.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be raw. I'm going to be revealing. You read my books and you will see my stuff. You will see my struggles, my flaws. And, I thought you could fix these things permanently. You really can't.
Right.
Like, what you can do is be honest about the flaws that we have, and then be humble and human, and when you do wrong, fix it.
Right.
Apologize and correct yourself.
Exactly.
And and improve yourself, become
Right.
better. And the flaws still remain. You're never gonna be perfect.
No.
And I had the idea in my younger years that I could be perfect. I was incredibly stiff,
Right.
fastidious, and flexible.
Right.
I was so self-righteous and full of myself, dude. It was, I look at myself and laugh now.
Right. You're like,
it-
really, character? Really?
Exactly. I was a cartoon character.
Yeah.
I was like laughable looking at myself.
Yeah.
But looking at how far I've come,
Yes.
I'm grateful. And I'm grateful for the woman who inspired me to fix myself.
Right.
To do the work of looking at myself honestly, not going to blame and not trying to be right, but to surrender and to really appreciate what she brought into my life. And that crossroad of destiny, I've chosen the harder road, the road where I had to work, where I had to conquer myself.
Yeah.
And to grow up, to get out of that neediness,
Right.
out of that recognizing that I need something, and recognizing that I have everything to give. And, generosity of spirit is a thing that is in your darkest hour.
Right.
Kindness is more helpful than money.
That's it.
I fed a few hundred, probably 1,000 homeless people when COVID outbreak came. And I talked to you about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw the homelessness explode in my area.
Yeah.
And so I started a fundraiser, and everybody contributed at work.
Right.
I got so much stuff. People came out. They brought blankets. They brought clothes. They brought shoes. They brought food. And I asked the homeless people, what do you need? I didn't give them what I think they need. I asked them, what do you need?
Right.
And I put the needs out there. And people donated thousands of dollars. People brought sleeping bags, tents, you name it, people brought it. And we meet their needs. People needed a new radiator for their car or a new alternator, a tow, whatever it is.
Right.
We just asked them what they needed, and we just made it happen. And we fed thousands of people. And one of the things that you notice among the homeless people is how kind they are to each other.
Right.
Like, you think that if you give them something that it just keep it to themselves. No, I give them a pizza, and the guy runs around and feeds everybody.
Yeah, because, everybody else around there is hungry,
Yeah.
I ain't going to look right eating the pizza. I'm going to go ahead and give my buddy some.
Yeah, I give
Exactly.
him a package of socks. He goes and gives 2 socks to every single person he could until he had 1 pair left.
That's it.
And this happened over and over again. Wherever I went, people in those places where you think desperation would take over were so kind.
Yes.
Things happened
Yep.
to them. So there was stuff going on that was bad, but they were good to each other when it mattered most.
Right.
And that was me seeing humanity and me being able to land. And I saw this guy once, and the guy was covered in dirt.
Right.
Like, his clothes was crusty, solid, hard with dirt. And I saw that this guy needed a hug. And my skin wanted to crawl, but I needed to give this guy a hug.
Right.
And I stopped and I gave the guy a hug because he was just so lonely. And I just had to do that.
Right.
I just recognized what the man needed and gave it to him. Right. And that was a moment in my own life where I kind of like recognize that relationships are so important.
Yes.
Taking care of people.
That's it. That's it. They are so important. Because probably that man, he probably has somewhere to go, but he think, man, that relationship I have with my daughter or the relationship I have with my cousin, I can't fix that now. So now I'm here.
Yeah.
So relationships are very, very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the sustenance, the substance of life.
Yes. Yeah.
And I can't tell you how grateful I am for the people I have in my life today. I have a calm life. I have people all over the world that I know are people I can call.
Right.
People I can reach out to. A friend of mine, her name is Margaret Lee. She's Asian.
Right.
And she's probably in Sicily right now. Or France, or somewhere.
Right.
But she's somebody who I'll text, and I'll get a message back from her. Oh, I'm in Hong Kong,
Right.
but I'm on Hong Kong time. I'll call you back when I'm on your time.
Right.
And, her husband will drop her off so 2 of us can sit down and talk and catch up. And this woman is the kindest human being I've ever known again.
Right.
Like, incredibly, generous and kind. Those are my people.
Right.
People who care, people who take care of others,
Right.
and people who take the time for the important relationships. And I have these people all over the place. I meet them, I find them, and I hold on to them.
Right.
Because they're the treasures of life.
That's it.
They're a person who, when I have a conversation, I never know what I'm going to say. But I'm
Right.
going to say something important.
Okay.
Because I'm going to feel safe.
Yeah. That's it. I see you also wrote a poem in here to your grandmother and your mother.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wrote one when I was 3 years old.
Yeah, that's the one that you're talking
my
about.
grandmother took me to the hospital. My grandmother had high blood pressure,
Right.
and it ended up killing her. She ended up dying from the effects of high blood pressure.
Right.
When I was 4 or 5 years old. But when I was 3, she took me to the hospital with her.
Right.
One day, and she left me in the hallway to go see the doctor.
Right.
And while I was there, I had an experience of watching a lady die. This is Jamaica, and it's not like America's hospitals where you have shields.
Right.
Like, it's just
It's just a curtain. Huh?
It's just a curtain or a
Right.
door, and things happen right there. And I wrote about that in this book, Death Song.
Yeah.
And I honored my mother with the poem Mother.
Right.
To see what your mother do for you to actually be able to write out in gratitude,
Right.
to say, recognize the commitment.
Yeah.
Like your mother remains your mother
No
all
matter
the way
what.
through her life.
Yeah, no matter what.
Like they never yield that post. They never stop being your mother. All the
Right.
way, they never stop honoring that post
No.
all the way through. And so I had to include it in this book, and it's going to be in my next book as well.
Yeah.
So I just feel like we have to honor the people who honored us. And this is my way of saying thank you to my mother. My mother bought my book, and she read it 3 times the first day she had it. And she tried to get all of her friends to buy it.
That's cool.
And she's my biggest fan.
Yeah, my mom is too.
Yeah.
My mom is a huge fan. I love my mom to death. I remember her one time in elementary. Me and my friend, I was always in trouble in elementary. So we got sent to the principal's office, and back then that's when they could paddle you. But they sent me, my grandmother used to live across the street from the school. So I went to the house, grandmother spanked me, came back. And then my homeboys, they called my homeboy's father. And my homeboy's father was like, okay, paddle him and send him back to class. So they did it, and the boy went home and told his mom. Mom said, okay, I'll be there tomorrow. She came up to the school and was talking to the principal. She was like, you hit my son the other day? He was like, yeah, well, we called his father, and his father said it was okay. She said, he didn't have him. I'm his mother. No, can't nobody hit my baby but me. So when you said your mother is always at your post, that's what his mother was.
Yeah.
She's like, he didn't have him, I did. That's my child.
Yeah.
So he can't tell you what to do with my child. That's just, it's true. Mothers will tell him in a minute, that's my baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love doing what I did. I was running the basketball league for the Boys and Girls Club. And I just said, I'm done.
As many times as I've seen you at work, I never, ever, ever thought you was a poet.
Every single one of these is an almost perfect first draft. I write these like in minutes, not hours.
Please stay tuned for the next part of this segment.
Let's talk about it, talk about it. Let's talk about it, talk about it. Talk about it. Let's talk about it, talk about it. Talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. That girl from LA.